morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Felice Montero, Council on Aging Director, for those who do not know who I am. And before I introduce our special guest to you this morning, I'd like to just talk a little bit about what the speaker represents, and it's baseball. So, having said that, the Council on Aging has been chosen as the featured guest by the Braves to attend the ball game on Wednesday, August 2nd. We have transportation for those who could not get there or cannot get there. We also have tickets for free popcorn at the concession stand, and we have the opportunity to have one of the elders from the Council on Aging throw the first pitch. So we have tickets, and if you fill them out, your name will be chosen the day before. And if you put your telephone number on the ticket, we will call you and let you know what time you have to be there. The game starts at 6 o'clock, and I'm sure that we'll be there. They open the gates at 4:30, so we could put our lounge chairs there. The COA will have its own little section. So I'm encouraging you, gentlemen that are here today, to support the Council on Aging and the Braves by attending. This is one of the first times that the COA is being featured. So I feel really proud and happy that they have chosen us. For the listening and viewing audience, if the community would also join us and support the COA, support the Braves. I think it's going to be a really nice game, and you'll get the opportunity to meet some of the COA staff that you probably do not know. So we will all be there in our own little cheering section, and I invite you all to come down and have a wonderful night. With that being said, I'd like to introduce to you the General Manager and Vice President of Operations, Mr. Darin Weeks. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everybody. Again, my name is Darin Weeks. I'm the General Manager of the Bourne Braves of the Cape Cod Baseball League, and thank you so much for having me out here this morning. It gets me out of work for a little while, and gets a chance to talk to you guys. How many of you guys have actually been to a Cape League game or a Braves game? It's such a benefit to have the Cape Cod Baseball League down here. I grew up in Waltham, outside of Boston, and my grandfather played minor league ball with Ted Williams back in the day. So I would go to my grandparents' house, and Ted Williams would be there, and I got to meet him. Didn't really know who he was. He was an older guy at the time, and but I got into baseball pretty young, like most people in this area did. Moved down to the Cape about 15 or so years ago. Rose a family down here, and had the opportunity to kind of really indoctrinate myself into the Cape Cod Baseball League. For those who don't know what the Cape Cod Baseball League is, it is the premier summer baseball league here in America. If you look at the major league rosters across the board nowadays, the All-Star game is going on, and the weather is here, so people's baseball's mindset's here. There are 297 current major leaguers who played here in Cape Cod. And when you look at the list, it's astounding. I was watching the Home Run Derby the other night, and just watching the list, Aaron Judge and Justin Bour, and these guys right down the list. I remember when this guy Justin Bour played for us. He played for Bourne. I remember when Aaron Judge played over in Brewster. And that's the best part about it, is you get to see these guys before they kind of make it big. And if you go to a Fenway Park or a Yankee Stadium or any major league ballpark, and you're a part of the organization, they recognize you. And the Cape Cod Baseball League, in a lot of cases, represents baseball in its purest form to these folks. It's, in most cases, the best summer of their lives, the greatest adventure they ever had, because they're away from school, not having to go to classes, basically playing a major league quality type schedule, playing ball every single night, not having to practice or do homework, and so it gives them a real taste of what pro ball is. The most recent draft that Major League just had a month or so ago, in the first round alone, there was 10 Cape Cod Baseball League alums in the first round. The number 4 pick in the draft, named Brendan McKay, played for us here in Bourne a couple of years ago from Louisville. And the number 26 player in the drafts, Brendan Little, was drafted by the Chicago Cubs, and he played for us as well. So it's really a great opportunity to come out and seeing these guys really take off when they really have a chance to make a name for themselves. And it's such a great opportunity to watch these guys play and see them really mature and hear the stories and hear them talk afterwards when you see them in a major league ballpark about their host parents or if they had a job down on the Cape or getting stuck in traffic at the Rotary or getting lost in Chatham and with the street lights and things like that. And so it's kind of very parochial type of league we have here, and it's one that it's one that really it's a real treasure here in the Cape. If you're a baseball fan, you travel around the country. If you wear a Braves hat or a Kettleers hat or a Commodore hat, you're in an airport. So many times I'll have a hat on and someone will recognize, oh, Cape Cod Baseball League. I was on the Cape 2 summers ago. It was fantastic. You were part of that. Peter Gammons, if you guys know who he is, writes for the Boston Globe or used to ESPN. He lives right around the street here. He goes to a lot of our games, and he'll talk your ear off about former players and what they've done and how they've really taken off. So many players have really made a name for themselves here on the Cape. The players who come in here unknown have a great summer on Cape Cod. Next thing you know, all the scouts are watching them play, and their careers are really taking off. So much potential and careers have been made on these little ballparks down here. So for kids, my oldest kid now, he helps. He's one of the interns. My younger kid's a bat boy. What a great opportunity to live in this area and have small kids grow up in this. Like I said, I grew up in Waltham. My summer was go in the backyard and play in the sprinkler. That was my summer. My kids get to be bat boys at a Cape Cod Baseball League game or go drive around and watch these kids and get to know these kids from all around the country. Hearing dialects from kids from the southeast and southwest, and have never been above the Mason-Dixon line before, let alone New England. Certainly not Cape Cod. So it's a great way to stay young by meeting young people every year. I get a year older, but the players stay the same, and mentally it kind of keeps you mentally in check, I guess, with all that. But hopefully you guys come out to our game on August 2nd, I believe it is. I think there's an opportunity to throw out a first pitch, which is kind of cool. I've done it before. It's a lot of fun. And is there any questions you guys have about the league or anything that you're curious about?
How do you recruit players?
What's so funny? That's without a doubt the most popular question we get across the league. Some people ask, is there a draft? How do you get players? What happens is just like when the kids are being recruited to a college, our field manager, Harvey Shapiro, does a great job, as all the Cape managers do, of working with colleges, scouts, networks to help get players here. So, some teams will have certain specific schools with Texas or Florida, and they'll help get players from them. You can get up to 4 players per college per team. So, if we have a guy down at Louisville, says, Paul Maneri, for example, down at Louisiana State, do you have anybody who's going to help us, could send us up to the Cape this year? Yeah, I'll send you this guy. And that's how it is. We're competing for the players against not only the other 9 teams in the Cape League, but also all the other leagues across the country who are at it's a little different level, but this is the Premier League, but everyone wants to come here, so there's no shortage of players. But that's how it is. Basically, it's finding the players and having the networks of the different schools. Did you have a question too?
What's the same one?
Yeah, I know. It's always that question. It's always that question all the time. We can almost predict it. Yeah.
I was surprised at how many games they play in a week. I was looking at the schedule.
Yeah.
All week, one day they miss.
They play a professional baseball schedule. They play just about every night. There's 44 games, not counting playoffs, condensed over a 9-week period. Really, it's one day off every 2 weeks. And these kids feel it. I mean, they're 19, 20-year-old kids, but their backs get sore too. And they feel the rigors of pro ball. It's their first real taste of playing professional baseball. Because college, you're playing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe a game during the week. But here you're on the bus every day, going to different places, and you may not play every day, but you're certainly going to be there. So it's quite rigorous. It really is. Yeah.
How many players from the College World Series? Are there any players playing in the Cape?
There's a lot of them, actually. The College World Series just ended. One of the players who's playing for us from LSU, his name is Zach Hess. He just arrived the other day from the College World Series. They come in different times, and he's actually pitching tonight for us. But he was the one who I think pitched one of the first couple of games against Florida in the national championship final weekend. So around July 4th, right around here is when all of our players are here. We have temporary players that fill those spots until they get here. But we have quite a few. It's fun when you're watching on television, you see, you know, a player on the screen, you say, well, he's going to be playing in Bourne, or he's going to be playing in Falmouth in a week or two. Because then you get to know them. They're kids, so you get to talk to them about their experiences. Yeah.
What happened to Roger Clemens' son?
Well, you know, he'd played a lot of baseball when he got here. And so he had Tommy John surgery about a year or so ago. And I think when he got up here, I don't think he was ready physically to play the rigors of that schedule. So I think he needed a little bit of time. Good question, though.
You mentioned Harvey Shapiro.
Mm-hmm.
How old is he?
You know what? That's a good question. So makes you want to cut him in half and count the rings, you know. I think he's probably I would say he's probably about 70. He's been around a long time, though.
You don't know where he's originally from?
Originally from? Connecticut, I believe. He's always talking about Connecticut, so I assume that's where he's from. You know, Harvey's done a lot of things. He's a great manager. He's the all-time winningest manager we have here in Bourne. You know, he'll be a lock Cape Cod Baseball League Hall of Famer when he hangs him up. He's coached overseas and he's coached in college, so we talk about the players a lot, but sometimes we don't focus on the accolades of the managers and how strong they are as well. Yeah.
Have you ever taken a high school student?
Nope, you got to be in college. You got to be enrolled in a college to be in the Cape League. So a lot of kids who are seniors now who are going to school next year, a lot of them will be here next year. Most of the teams are comprised mostly of kids who just finished freshman year in college or just finished their sophomore year in college. That's pretty much how it is. You have to be enrolled in a school.
And so if they played in their freshman year, are they invited back first to come back?
Potentially. Sometimes they do. You know, you can protect players. We certainly have players who have returned this year from last year's team. Sometimes for different reasons, they want to stay back at school. They want to work out. You know, they're still students, so sometimes they want to do summer classes. You know, there are things pulling them in different directions as well. We try to avoid the kids who finish their junior year, ideally because they're draft eligible kids. And it's tough to put a roster together when they could be drafted and sign with the Red Sox tomorrow. But that happens too. We do have them. But I would say the lion's share of the players in our league are freshmen or sophomores. It's a question. That's another common question. Yeah.
How many players have been inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame from the Cape Cod League?
That I don't know. There's been quite a few, though. You know, I know Frank Thomas comes to mind.
Isn't Pedro in the Hall of Fame?
Pedro Martinez? He is, but he wasn't on the Cape League. Yeah. But just on the top of my head, you know, Craig Biggio, Frank Thomas. I mean, guys who you know, not just names from the past, but a lot of people. Frank Thomas played for the Orleans Cardinals at the time. It's the Orleans Firebirds now, but he played for Orleans. You know, Mark Garcia-Parra played on that team as well. If you look at a lot of the rosters, Chris Bryant and Evan Longoria. If you look down the list, you mentioned Aaron Judge. They all played here recently. So it's always kind of fun looking at the games, trying to figure out who the next big thing is. Because sometimes you can just tell. Sometimes you see a guy who's such a man-child that just goes out there and dominates. But then there are the kids you don't, like we had a kid named Tommy LaStella. You guys, if you're a Chicago Cubs fan, you've heard of him. But he was, good player, scrappy player, but he wouldn't have been one of those guys you look at and say, wow, that guy's got it. And he went off and he's had a good, solid major league career. When Kevin Youkilis played for Bourne, he was a guy you could just kind of tell he stood out. Yeah.
A few years back, I know they did a DVD on the Cape League.
Yep.
I have one. John Wild Cape League.
Yep.
He was live, but is that still available for people?
Touching the game. With the Touching the Game DVD, I think it was called. I'm sure you can still find it on Amazon, somewhere like that. There's always talk of the league trying to do different things like that, promote themselves better. They just want to make sure that if they put something out there in video, that it's going to reflect in a positive light. Yeah, that was a good one, though. That was probably one of the better ones. There's a lot of books about the Cape League as well. Just that you go with a lot of local writers, stuff like that. But it's there's certainly no lack of social media as far as in regular media as far as the Cape League goes. So who's going to throw out the first pitch? See a lot of people who are itching to do it. What's that? Well, just make sure you don't hurt the catcher. We'll make some extra pads in the glove for you, so nobody can break his hand. We gotta save our catcher for the playoffs, I suppose. It's certainly a lot of fun to come out. So, any other questions you guys have? All right, good. Well, I appreciate it. I hope you guys come out for our game on August 2nd, and if it's not that game, I hope you come out to a different game. Even if it's a different team, we hope you go check out the Cape League, because it is a real treasure down here. Where, we're very lucky to have it down here, because it's certainly one that's part of the culture and part of the fabric of Cape Cod that surprisingly not a lot of people know about or really appreciate. So hopefully y'all do. So.
What's the Braves standing?
Yep. We are 13-12 right now. We are in second place, so we are just a couple of games behind Cotuit. So. Top 4 teams in each division make the playoffs. So the goal is just make the playoffs, and like anything else, get hot and hope you get lucky. We won the championship in 2009. We love to win another one for the town. So, okay. All right. Well, I guess if no other questions, certainly I hope to see you at the ballpark. But I appreciate you having me out and taking some time here in the morning at your breakfast. All right. Appreciate it. It's bournebraves.org. That's the official website of the Bourne Braves. It has our schedule, all our information on it. If you want to help the organization in any way, shape, or form, we're always looking for host families. We're always looking for fundraising, some sponsors, and people to hang around with. So if you come to the ballpark, I guarantee you'll have a good time. Some great people, and I think you'll really appreciate it.